Morning, the old man here, January 12th, 2025. Today, what I'd like to talk about is the Economic Ninja. He put out a great video yesterday talking about your IRAs. I've had a few people in the past in the comments ask about IRAs. In fact, I've talked about IRAs a few times. My opinion on them. I do not, for clarity, I do not have an IRA. I never have. I don't believe in somebody else taking care of my pension. I know it tends to be a lot easier to let somebody else worry about it, and you just work and put your money in there. And yeah, in many cases, your employer is matching what you're putting in, and that looks great. And a lot of people talk about how they're not paying tax on that money. Well, the fact of the matter is you pay tax on that money on the exit. It's just tax delayed, basically. So the question is, are you going to pay more tax in the future or less tax in the future? Fact of the matter is you're going to pay more tax in the future. Just take a look at places like England. They're trying to, they're desperate and they're taxing just about everything. So if you think your IRA is safe, I got a word for you. The Economic Ninja goes into it pretty heavily, spells it out very well. He's very passionate, especially on this issue. And he was just firing out on all 8 cylinders yesterday. The basic gist, in fact, I'd highly recommend you go see his video. Very, very informative. I think you need to hear it from somebody else besides just me. If you're looking on it, not very many people are in the YouTube land are talking about IRAs at all. They're talking about gold. They're talking about silver. They're talking about the stock market. Well, that stuff's important. But what about your IRA? Your retirements? That's going to be huge. In fact, in the future, what I would like you to think about is your wealth is not going to be measured in dollars, not at all. Your wealth is going to be measured in ounces, whether that is ounces of silver or ounces of gold. Some might even say copper. Well, I don't know about you, but copper is a little too hard to store that much. I don't know. There's an argument to be made for it. But I think, personally, I'm going to concentrate on silver and gold. I have very little platinum. In fact, I got 2 ounces of platinum. That's it. A little bit of skin in the game makes me keep an eye on it, just see what it's doing, and listen to videos that are pertaining to the that market. So we'll see how that goes. It's neither here nor there at the moment, anyways. Not a big deal. But his overall gist of that was that if you think your 401k is safe, you are incorrect. In the past, precedence has been set that in bankruptcy, the company that set up the 401k, in other words, the company you're working for, if they file bankruptcy, they can use your retirement to pay off first-party debts. So I don't know about you. I don't want them using my pension. I wouldn't want them to use my pension to pay off their debts. Something I've worked hard for, as time goes by. Strange thing, some people think. I had a young fellow, it's been a couple of years now, but we were talking about economics and 401ks and whatever else. And he said, well, I'm only 35. If the stock market crashes or my IRA goes to shit, he says, I got 35 years, he says, I got many years of work to go to build it back up again. Huh? That's about the dumbest thing I've ever heard. If I knew the stock market was going to shit for sure, I'd be taking everything out. But if there's any doubt in my mind at all, I would be taking, let's say, take some profit off the table. Let's say you take 20% off the top, you pay your tax on your IRA, the 20% you took out, you pay the tax on it now. Keeping in mind that it's a lower tax rate today than it will be in the future anyways. So take that 20% out and convert that to gold or silver, depending on your age. Again, I think silver's fairly speculative compared to gold. And the younger you are, the more you can afford to have, the majority of your stack being silver. The older you are, the majority of your stack should probably be gold. I don't know, whatever. I know the rules, although I understand the frame of mind, but I tend to stack silver more than I do gold. But I do have a pretty decent gold base. So I realize silver is speculative. We'll see how that pans out at the end of the day. But the overall gist is that companies can and will rob your IRA. And again, I would recommend getting, at least for now, till you figure out where things are going one way or the other, get 20% out, and convert it to, pay your taxes on that 20%, convert whatever's left to gold and silver, keeping in mind that gold and silver went up 30% last year. I think we're well on track to do it again this year. I think the dollar's falling by that much or more. Like I said yesterday in my yesterday's video, my prediction is that the dollar falls by 50% this year. So I appreciate you guys not calling me out on my math. Actually, it was a little flawed yesterday. One thing that I meant to say, that if the dollar falls by 50%, if a dozen eggs cost you $3 today, by the end of next year, that dozen eggs is going to be $6. The other thing I should have said, and I said it wrong, I was thinking wrong. Apparently, I didn't have enough caffeine and nicotine in yet, and so therefore my meds weren't properly mixed yet. But what I did say was that if the Dow Jones is $42,000 now, if the dollar drops by 50%, to be even, it would have to go to actually $84,000 just to leave you even. Now, it will go up, but it's not going to go up by 50%. So what that means is that you're losing purchasing power. And that's the melt up. As it goes higher, you think you're richer, when in reality, the dollar that it's based in buys so much less. This is hyperinflation. We're on our way there. And why would that be? Well, the reason for that is faith in the dollar across the world is dying. Most governments today, I should say central banks today, are selling off their bonds, U.S. government bonds, to prop up their currencies, and they're also buying gold. It looks better on their balance sheet. Again, the BIS in 23, I believe it was January of 23 actually, reclassified gold as a tier 1 asset. At that point, that should have been the handwriting on the wall for everybody, but we didn't see it coming. We didn't really know what it meant. But trust me, central banks knew what it meant. Central banks knew exactly what it meant. However, they couldn't dump their government bonds too fast, because that would tank our market, making the rest of their government, or our government bonds, worth less. So they had to de-dollarize or de-bond, if you will, at a fairly slow pace, leaving the bond market in a reasonable shape. It's not in great shape, but it's reasonable shape. Again, not to warn everybody that holy shit, this is going to hell in a handbasket. But these, like I said, they've sold they're selling. They still haven't sold them all, but they're selling their government bonds, U.S. government bonds, and across the world, buying gold and propping up the value of their currency, and even that's failing across the world. So keep that in mind. Watch what's going on across the world, and remember, we will be the last one. We will feel everything they feel. We're gonna see it. I'll elaborate more on Trump in the next video. I know this kind of sounds doom and gloom, and holy shit, where are we going? But in my opinion, there's some good news too, and lots of good news. Now we're going to go through a little bit of a world of shit before things get straightened out, but they will, in short order. If the Kamala administration would have been appointed into power, and notice I didn't say voted into power, but appointed into power, that we are the last globalist holdout. The world has been run by the globalists. All governments across the world, or I'd say 90% of governments across the world, have been fully infiltrated by the globalists. It doesn't matter what party it is, left or right, green or not green, Labor Party, whatever, doesn't matter. They've all been infiltrated by globalists, and even though their shit is tanking, they're still holding on to globalist ideology. In other words, they think it's the fault of the rich, or they're trying to portray to everybody it's the fault of the rich. The rich need to be taxed into oblivion, and the world's going to be better. And that's socialism on steroids. Some people see it, some people don't. The thing about Trump being at the helm and what he's done as far as setting up his cabinet, he hit the ground running. In fact, he's been working on this for the last 4 years, if not the last 8 years. He's been working on the cabinet that he knew he needed to get us through what we're doing. I believe that this great reset has been planned since '33. They've kept control of your money, if you will, the fiat dollar, making it slowly worse since '33. And that's almost 100. We're pushing 100 years that your dollar has been corrupted, and it gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. So we're at the tail end of it. Even if you go to the FRED website, the federal government, it's called FRED, they'll even show that there's only 3 cents of the original dollar purchasing power left. We only got we can only go down so much farther. But the Great Reset has been planned. The rest of the world will see a Great Reset. We will go through the first stages of the Great Reset, but we have the Constitution and Trump and the Trump administration, more importantly, to bring us through that Great Reset. And coming out the other side is going to be the Constitution. Plain and simple. If you want to know where Trump's going, look at the Constitution. The one thing that everybody I listen to and watch, whether an economist or what they are, they overlook the fact that the most powerful thing that Trump did in his first 4 years, no matter what else you might have saw, forget about everything else. It was all, it's basically him playing chess while the rest of the idiots are playing checkers. He set up 3 conservative Supreme Court justices. that is as huge as it gets. You just don't understand the fact, most do not understand what that means. That means we have the power to go back to the Constitution. And like I mentioned earlier, in the future, and maybe not the too distant future, your wealth will be measured in ounces, not dollars. Okay, in the Great Reset, there will no longer be the dollar. It'll be gone. I'll elaborate on that a little bit more in the next video. I kind of plan on doing one this evening if everything works out. If not, tomorrow morning. I got to go into work today. We took in a lot of repairs, and that's one of the things I do best is firearm repair. So I'm gonna head in for a few hours, at least a few hours, get a bunch of work done, and which is a lot easier when the phone's not ringing and the door shut, so I can concentrate on what I'm doing. So I appreciate you checking in, see what the old man's up to. Appreciate it if you like and subscribe, and also if you would, and share, and if you would leave a comment, see what you think, and if you have any questions, be sure to be sure to ask. There was one thing, I'll cover that tomorrow or tonight, maybe even. Somebody had asked about the gold to silver ratio. To elaborate on that some, that let's see here, GMC 9451. He's left other good comments before, as well as this one, and I've answered those as best I could. And again, I will cover the gold to silver ratio and a little more elaborately tonight, and talk more about Trump. Like I said, either tonight, or if the wheels fall off and it winds up being too late, I'll do it tomorrow. Sorry, guys. Thanks a lot for checking in. Have a great day. Bye.